Hey everybody, it's Paul from Karis Pen Co, and I am back and excited to finally be able to announce our latest commemorative limited edition, something that I've been planning since, it's been probably since the first of the year, since we came back from holidays. I try to sit down and plan out our releases, and when I was looking through the different anniversaries that were going to happen in 2020 and ran across this one, just absolutely knew that it was going to have to be something special and something that we kind of went a little bit out of our comfort zone to do. That was my desire, and thankfully I think we've kind of pulled it off, but it's been laborious, to say the least. I know Bill is happy to finally be done with it, and so am I. So what I'm talking about, you can kind of see it here in front of me, and there's going to be some pictures of it on the screen. This year on April 3rd is the 160th anniversary of the opening of the Pony Express. So if your chances are you're familiar with what the Pony Express was. It was a fast letter delivery service between April 1860 and October 1861. And it ran from St. Joseph, Missouri to Sacramento, California. So this was, it was something that was relatively unique in terms of a mail delivery service, because it was only basically a letter delivery service. And it was extremely costly. There's a whole bunch of stuff into it. Like it cost $5 to send a letter initially, which in today's money is equal to $140. So it was really used for urgent messages. But it was during a time when there was a lot of competition for the contracts, the government contracts, to move letters coast to coast. And it was before the telegraph had made it from the East Coast to the West Coast. And that kind of led to the decline. That's one of the things, when that was finalized, that's one of the things that kind of stopped this, kind of killed the Pony Express. So it was a big deal. There's tons of history around it. It had 186 stations that were spaced. I think that was what it started with. I think it ended up having 194 stations, but they were spaced 10 miles apart. Riders would ride horses as fast as they could from one station to another station and switch the horses out at each station. Typically rode anywhere between 17 and 20 hours. There was prerequisites about how heavy. You couldn't weigh over 125 pounds. You were limited to carrying just the satchel with the mail, which could weigh up to 20 pounds, and then a water skin and a revolver, and that's all you could carry with you. The horses couldn't carry more than 165 pounds total. So there was, famous people were members of the Pony Express. Most notably, William Cody, Wild Bill, was one of the riders. There's other riders, I think Robert Haslam, and Jack Keatley. Some of them are famous because during rides they were attacked by Indians, and one of them died during the middle of this attack. Fought off the attack, ended up being killed during the attack. So there's a bunch of lore around it, and it's kind of, because it's a letter carrying service, it's kind of, and one of the most iconic letter carrying services of the growth of the United States. It was something that I really figured we could do a nice homage piece to, a nice commemorative piece, and people would understand why it would be something we would want to release, simply because we make writing instruments. We're really about growing letter writing again and sending things through the mail. So it's kind of apropos for us to do something like this, and we're really excited to release this. I'm really excited to release it specifically because of what we've done and I'm going to go through that now. So the release itself consists of what I have in front of me. Basically, it's a pen, a couple, and then 3 add-on things that we've sourced. So I'll start with the add-ons and we'll get to the pen last because the pen's kind of the big piece. When I first sat down to do this, I wanted to do a piece of art that was an open source piece of art, something historical that would be in the archives of the Library of Congress, potentially. And when doing that, I landed on this map. The Library of Congress has this map, and this was a map that was put together and was used for the 100-year anniversary of the Pony Express to commemorate it. It was a map that existed before that, but they specifically used this map for that 100-year commemoration. And so we wanted to use it again just as an add-on. So it's printed in a high, like on a nice satin finish. This is actually photo stock that we had it printed on by a high-end photo printing shop. And then I was lucky enough to find online the 2 different commemorative postage stamps that the U.S. Postal Service produced for the Pony Express. So they did an 80-year anniversary stamp, which is this reddish one. And then they did a 100-year postage stamp, which is the brown one. And I was able to find those, and those will be included with this. You'll get both of those. The main piece is going to be the ink. And you might be looking at it and saying to yourself, what's so special about that? That just looks like a brass ink. You guys always have a brass ink, but this ink is completely different in several different ways than any ink that we've released. The first thing about this ink that was initially the change is this ink is an updated version. So it will be the ink V2, kind of like we're having all of our models of pens have the V2 designator out after it. This ink is a V2 ink. So and what that means is we've done two different modifications to this ink that denote the V2. First off, this ink will have the Stay Fast cap with the O-ring in it. So this will not come unscrewed. So we're transitioning away from our old style ink and our old style capped pens with screws to all of our metal capped pens that are thread on will have an O-ring in them. And so this is the first version of this that we're releasing, the ink V2. So it has the O-ring in there, so it keeps it on. If it's in your pocket, it's not going to come unscrewed. The second thing is when we went to add that detail to this, Bill and I sat down and we modified the grip section and the nib placement in order to pull out that the nib. Let's see if this actually doesn't. To pull out the nib, because previously the nibs in the ink fountain pen were semi-recessed quite a bit, almost up to where we laser the keras on there. So we basically were able to move that out based off of the amount of room we had in the cap. But then we also took off just a little bit of the grip. It doesn't, and then we moved some geometry back, so this, while is a little bit shorter, it still retains the same shape and width and everything, and so it still feels extremely comfortable in the hand with us doing that. So it is a little bit recessed, but not nearly as bad as it used to be. One of the problems with having a recessed nib that we had in the past was that if you fill the converter through the nib, you would get ink that would collect in that recess between the feed and the grip. But with this not being as drastically recessed, you're not going to get a lot of ink, so that when you write, that ink is not going to potentially blot the page. So this is, and it looks, in my opinion, it looks a lot better this way. You see the nib, it's really nice. So those are the differences with the V2 in terms of functionality. Now, the main difference is that why this kind of is special is because this material is not brass. This is in fact C630 nickel bronze. It is machinable. It's basically machinable bronze. It's bronze that's made for CNC machines. We've never released a pen. We've never released a pen that we use bronze for in the past. We rarely work with bronze in machining. So it is, and we've been asked specifically to release a pen in bronze. So that is really unique. This design, if you have this next to one of our brass inks, they'll look different. This is a much more warm color than the brass is. The brass is very like bright and like yellow, whereas this is more warm and almost like a goldish color. Because this has more copper content, bronze has more copper than brass does, you retain some of that warmth of the copper. It's going to patina a little bit faster than the brass is. Not as fast as the copper, but it definitely will patina a little bit faster. You can see some of the patina, maybe if he's zoomed in. There's already patina here at the base of the threads. So it's going to patina a little bit faster. It's going to show that nice, darken up nicely, unlike the brass. And it does weigh a little bit more than the brass does. Closer, even though the brass and the copper are pretty close, this is even closer to the copper than the brass is. The other thing that's different about this pen is these clips are grade 5 titanium that we machined, we water jet and then finish machined in-house. Again, we've never used titanium on a pen before, so this is the first time for us with that. So, and we kind of wanted this to be special. The bronze kind of plays well with different aspects of Western lore. You kind of would see the shiny spurs and different saddle pieces and stuff like that, and just the hardiness of the pen kind of with the hardiness of the writers. It just fit well for us to do this. So we're really excited to release this commemorative piece. It's something that's been in the work for quite some time. I'm excited about it personally. I really think it's a great addition. And you guys have been asking for these kind of elements. So we have 100 of these sets available. They are going to be, I believe the price on these is $210 for everything with a polished steel nib. Nicely polished. We're not going to do any tumbled versions of this. The finished polish condition is going to come out on it. That's the steel nib. And then we'll have titanium and we have some gold extra fine flex nibs that are available, but right now we're sold out of most of the gold. We're not getting any anytime soon. So you're kind of limited to the steel and then the titanium upgrade and then the one size of gold nib if you are a gold nib user. We're going to ship this in a special tube to protect the print. The box is going to be wrapped, and inside it doesn't move, it won't move around, it won't damage your print or anything like that. So I'm really excited, guys. This is going to be released on next Monday, which I believe is let me get my calendar out. I think it's the 27th. Yeah, Monday the 27th. This is going to go live on the website. We wanted to release it on the actual anniversary date, but with everything going on, it's been difficult for us to land our anniversaries at this time. This is the complete piece right here. Really excited to bring it to you guys. Hopefully you take it and really kind of connect with it as well. Excited about it. Again, 100 pieces. There'll be a link in the description so you can purchase directly from this. It'll be in the newsletter. But with that, guys, if you have any questions, comment down below, send us an email. We're working through all this different stuff, so we might not get back to you as quickly as possible, but we do want to hear from you if you do have some questions about this or anything else, and we'll get back to you. It might take a little bit longer, but we're here, and this is the latest, the Pony Express 160th anniversary limited edition release. Super excited to bring it to you. Hopefully you love it too. Click on the link below. Even if you don't purchase it, you want to see some other pictures of this release, you can go to the website and scroll through the different photos to give you different views and stuff like that of it, and then you can go from there. Really happy about it. Happy to bring it to you finally. And with that, guys, I will talk to you next time.